Alright, well, hello everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Essential Sports Pod. Yep. Good
Yes,
times.
sir. Yes,
Yep, thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
I'm Francisco and I'm here with my good friends. Introduce
Yep.
yourselves.
I'm
Okay.
Joe.
Introduce yourself, Addison.
I'm Addison.
Alright,
Yeah.
so today we'll be covering the first week of baseball as the season has started this past week, and there's some points that we want to discuss and go over. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, I think getting into this, the main thing everybody is covering is the pitching on this team, especially the starting pitching. How do you guys think it's gonna hold throughout the season? Do you think some changes need to happen? People get moved around? What do you guys think?
Well, me, I think the rotation, like, there's some good things to take away from the first week, but obviously we know that's the weakness of the team. Like, I feel like every Cardinals fan knows that. So just I don't know. I feel like a trade would be nice, but I don't know if the front office wants to do that. So
So I agree with Gerald. I think it's clear to every Cardinals fan what the weakness is on this team. Starting pitching is I'm just gonna say it's one injury away from being absolutely atrocious,
Agree.
possibly worst in the league. Um, but just like Gerald said, I saw a press conference with John Mozeliak the other day, and he claims that we have, when asked about the starting pitching, he says we already have six starters, and we've got six starters, but a couple of them are like borderline AAA starters. It's not,
yeah,
um, you know, it's not quality starters. It's not a World
yeah, I was gonna
Series
say.
contention starting rotation.
Right, it's not
Um,
really competitive arms that
so
we
I
have.
think I think the biggest issue is the front office not recognizing the issue here. And I mean, props to them for wanting to stick with their guys. Like, I get it, but you got Steven Matz starting, and I'm not confident in a name like Steven Matz at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think you could really just throw anybody in the starting position and say they're a starter. I mean, it kind of feels like. I mean, it's not what they did, obviously, because it's guys from last season, but you can't just keep trying to get over the hump with the same players over and over who are just like kind of holding you back in a sense. Um,
Yeah, I think that's like part of the Cardinals' way though, which is I'm not gonna say like it's the worst, but like it's kind of unfortunate because you see teams like the Mets like go out there and spend for the guys that they want to get, you know, get them what they want, but it really the Cardinals love to keep their homegrown players, I feel like. And
which is
I
which is
just
a great philosophy
right.
when you've got a guy like Alcantara, but that philosophy
Yeah.
falls apart when you trade him away for Marcell Ozuna. You know,
Yeah.
we've got great fielding prospects now. Like, I don't think we should make any changes for position players, and we should absolutely keep that farm system alive. With you've got
Right.
guys coming up to the pros like Brendan Donovan, you've got Nolan Gorman, you've got Jordan Walker. Eventually, we're gonna have Mason Wynn. You've got Juan Yepes sitting down there, getting
Yeah.
great. But we got rid of all of our pitching prospects a long time ago, and
Right.
now the brightest star in the minor leagues is probably Matthew Liberatore, and I have zero confidence in him.
yeah, I
Right. I
agree. He
think
should he showed some flashes last season, but it hasn't really translated to the big leagues since I mean he's a
yeah.
big prospect. It just hasn't really translated over to the bigs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The thing
I mean,
is with like lefties, I think you give them time, but like you said, I don't think it should be the guy that we're most excited about in our minor league system. And we're Cardinals fans, and we can realize like where the holes in our team is. So I just wish that the front office did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I very good points. I agree with all of those. So kind of on the same topic, essentially, do you guys think the inconsistencies will continue for Jack Flaherty? Do you think he'll settle in a little bit? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, obviously, I hope that he settles in. I think he has proven in the past that he has the potential to be an ace and an elite ace at that. The issue is he hasn't pitched a full season in the better part of 2 years, and I'm just not sure that his injuries or confidence, can get back to what he was.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. It may be his like mechanics or something, but sometimes he just completely struggles to find a strike zone. And like it sucks because like when he does find the strike zone, he's pretty good. Like his first start, he didn't give up a hit, but he had like 8 walks. So I think it's just about finding that consistency with him. But he's definitely an upside pitcher.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he definitely still has that potential that he had a few years ago, obviously, but I think being away for such a long time and already having that pressure of being that ace that the Cardinals were looking for out of him, I feel like it could be some mechanical stuff, but I feel like it also could be some mental stuff that's like pushing on him, where maybe
Right,
it's a little too much pressure right now and he just needs a little time.
right. This
I
season
think,
is his first season. He's going into healthy. So
yeah.
hopefully he can work with some things with that.
What I am hesitant of or scared of going back to the Cardinals' way is we seem to not know when to cut our losses and cut and run. And we see that with a guy like Paul DeYoung, where he was showing signs of decline, but we wanted to hold on to him because he was our top prospect. He was this and that. He hit for power. He was going to be the future of the shortstop position for us. But now his trade value is next to nothing, and we're stuck with a guy that can't even hit 200, sometimes. So I am a little bit worried. If I was in the front office, I would be putting little nibblers out there just to see what kind of interest was in Jack Flaherty, while he still has value.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, like you said, Paul DeYoung, he came out like as a rookie and was like very good, like made the All-Star team. But like you said, like the underlying stats really showed that he could be due for regression. And obviously he regressed a lot from that. So just like you said, the Cardinals need to understand like when to move away from those type of players instead of like having that like emotional connection, like trying to work with them and stuff like that. Like just improving the team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
I think with that, like you could just, like Addison said, just market him out and see what they want for him. Plus Flaherty, just maybe add him to that, maybe a little package for something. Even for anything, like it doesn't have to be an ace, but maybe get a better fourth or fifth option at the starting position. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I feel like our rotation right now is filled with like a bunch of threes and fours instead of like twos and ones, and we're just really hoping for someone to break out. But
Yeah.
adding someone at the top that could really like give us innings and strike out a lot of batters, like that's really what we need.
So still on the pitching side of things, what do you guys seen from Verhagen and Thompson? I think, in my opinion, I think they're doing great. I love, especially Thompson. I love his that
Yes, I
curveball is
love
crazy.
Verhagen.
True.
I love Verhagen. I think I was just saying it because I was at the game and I watched him pitch. I was like, we need to put him in the rotation. Like, I think when he came over as a starter, and we just moved him to the bullpen. So we have guys in the rotation that we can't necessarily rely on, but I know they want to give them an opportunity. But yeah, I do really like that starting pitching like
I
option with
think
him.
the bullpen for this team is the complete opposite of the starting rotation. The bullpen is super deep. Um,
Yeah,
it's nails, top to bottom.
right,
And there's we've got guys that can give you everything. You got a guy like Helsley who will pump just straight heat at you. Same with Jordan Hicks, but then you get craftier guys, a Packy, Palante, um,
right. And even
you
Gio
know,
has a high arm slot. People can't really read that well,
right,
and he's just a different look out of the bullpen.
right. So I mean, and that I'm not even so concerned injury wise. You get a guy like, um, somebody goes out, it's kind of a next man up sort of
Right,
deal. And then even if two guys go out, we've got, Genesis Cabrera sitting down in the minors.
right,
And he's proven that he can be inconsistent, but still a serviceable big league relief arm. So, the bullpen doesn't concern me at all. It's a young group of guys. I mean, Zach Thompson's 25, Palante 24, Helsley's 28. I
yeah.
think the oldest guy in the bullpen is
Gio,
Verhagen. It's Verhagen at 32, and
yeah,
Gio's 31. So
right,
this is it's a young squad. It's great. We're gonna have that bullpen hopefully for a very long time.
It kind of
right.
Um,
And one thing that I noticed that the Cardinals like to do is like they'll have a guy that's a starter convert over to a reliever, and like maybe he can work with a little bit more velocity versus like stretching him out. And then that really makes him good because we have like good relieving options already and
oh
guys
yeah,
with upside. Because Zach Thompson, wasn't he a starter in the minors?
I believe so. I believe he did
Yeah,
get starting reps down there. And I mean,
yeah,
we saw that even toward even back in 2011 with the winning the World Series team. You had guys like Lance Lynn coming out of the bullpen. And
right,
that's extended his career. I mean, shoot, Lance Lynn's what 40 something now, and he's a
yeah,
starter in Chicago. So, I mean, I think that strategy is just fine.
right. I like it.
it kind of seems like the Cardinals are just one move away from being that contender team. We don't have holes in the offense. The bullpen, it kind of just comes down to managing it well during the game, and
Yeah,
it feels like that we're missing that one ace, that one pitcher that can go out there and shut a game down for us.
right. Like just look at the Phillies. I feel like we're in a similar spot as the Phillies without like Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler. Like that's
100%.
what I that's what I feel like. Like
And I even think that our offense is better than the
better,
Phillies.
yeah,
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 wait, like I think, in a series against them, if we had had the pitching that they have, I think we
right.
take them easily.
Yeah.
Um, so
Every guy
but
on our
you're
offense is gonna give you a good at bat, and that's what I love about the Cardinals. Like
right.
our lineup is super deep, and we have guys that we can just plug into the lineup every day where they may not be the best, but other guys can make up for it. So
Yeah, as we're transitioning to the offense, do you guys think it's one of the best in the league? It seems like it. They're putting up good numbers, getting on base. We got those bench options that could fill in for somebody else that
yeah,
isn't too good. I think the only hole we got is the backup catcher if Wilson Contreras isn't
yeah,
playing.
That's yeah, the backup catcher it does get concerning. I've never, excuse me, been high on Kisner. I don't think he's um really a high level MLB um, catcher, but I think top to bottom. I mean, and I know it's early, but top to bottom, we've already got one, two, three, four, five, six guys out of the lineup that are batting over 300, with a couple fringe guys at like 270. So you know, I think that the offense, is not something that we should touch. I think the offense and even the fielding defense takes care of itself. Um,
Yeah,
you got studs all around the diamond, and in the outfield. Um, and that's another one that I think is kind of a next man up sort of deal. If Goldschmidt needs a day off, you've got Yepes sitting down that's can fill in, and it's not going to be a problem. You've got if O'Neill needs a day off, you move New Bar into center field. It's like the offense is deep and it's um, even the bench guys perform.
yeah. I agree with what you said. Like I feel like having Donovan at the lineup is the perfect leadoff guy. Like exactly what you want from a leadoff guy.
Oh yeah.
Newbar comes right behind him. He can walk, get on base, and then we have Goldschmidt and Arenado like in the middle. Like I feel like that's the best duo in the league, in my opinion. So like relying on those four guys at the top, everyone at the bottom can just kind of fill in. But when you have guys like Jordan Walker and Tyler O'Neill who can hit 35 home runs, it's just like you can't really get over on our lineup.
Which Jordan Walker has the second most, one behind Nolan Gorman with total bases. I mean, he's been
He's
on
on a
fire.
6 game hitting
Yeah,
streak.
he hasn't missed a game. He hasn't missed a game without a hit. So
Yeah.
it's nice seeing that out of the young guy, especially now he just hit his first home run. You know,
Yep.
probably way more to come, I believe.
Oh, absolutely. I'm super high on him.
Yeah, going back to Kitchen a little bit, it was kind of surprising he got the backup spot after that spring training he had, hitting 125, 208 on base percentage. It was I don't know, maybe his defense is that much better than the other guys, but I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
hard.
I
It's
think
hard to.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a front office move, like um like with the Cardinals philosophy that we were talking about. Like they like have that emotional tie to players, and it's just
Mhm.
like I feel like Trace Barrera should have had the spot, but Kids has been back there with Yachty and spend time around the guys, so they probably felt like he should make the team. But you know,
I
I
will
feel
say
otherwise.
I do like how Kisner calls games. I think
Yeah,
behind the plate, calling pitches. I think he. I mean, obviously, no one's gonna be as good as Yachty at that, but I think he's. You can tell that he's learned and he really took notes from Yachty
right.
behind the dish,
Yeah, and that's very valuable to the team. So
especially with a weak starting rotation. You
exactly.
need a guy back there that can really direct.
Yeah, and that's like I noticed that because Michael's first start he was with Contreras, obviously didn't go well. Then I noticed the next time he pitched, they put Kisner out there. So I was wondering if maybe they thought Kisner can give them a different look, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the chemistry will build with time. Between Contreras and the other pitchers on the team, because obviously he's the new guy and his style is going to be different than what they're used to from Yachty.
Right,
Um, and I think the World Baseball Classic could have hurt that. The guys didn't get a ton of spring training time with Contreras because he went to play. Didn't he play for Venezuela?
Contreras stayed at spring training. It's just
He
all
stayed
the
at
yeah,
other.
spring
because
training.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but
but the
Michaelis
pitchers
was
went.
gone.
yeah.
Michael,
That's right.
yeah,
So, I think they missed out on that, and that'll develop obviously as the season progresses, and they've got plenty of time to figure that out.
right,
So, the chemistry and the um, sort of just the chemistry behind the plate, I'm not so much worried about.
right. Another thing that I wanted to say about our offense, like besides the ones in the middle, like Goldschmidt, Arenado, Contreras, we're super young, like
Mhm.
super young.
Yep.
Jordan is 20. Tyler O'Neill is not 28 yet. Brandon Donovan's 26. Tommy Edman is 27. So most of these guys aren't even close to 30 yet. So they're still like kind of developing, I feel like, which
especially
Yeah.
is
with
what's
this
dangerous.
these guys that are down in AAA. You know, we still got
Oh yeah,
at least three pieces in the AAA that could come up and play in the starting lineup.
right. Like
100%.
Yepes, Mason Wynn, and them down there, they're just luxuries at
Yeah.
that point.
Right. I mean, you've got guys like Carlson at 24, Newbar 25, Yepes 25. So, yeah, this
Right.
team is very young, 100%. So,
And still very good at offense. And that's what I'm saying.
yep.
Please don't touch the offense. Just get that pitching right and we'll be good.
So there's one player I wanted to touch up specifically on the pitching side, and that is Jordan Hicks. I don't he for me what I've seen he seems like he's had good flashes of things, but it's just that control that sometimes gets away from him, especially hit Contreras in the knee with 103. He walks a little bit too much. I don't know. I like him a lot. It's just that control he's got to get down by because he's throwing so fast.
Right. I think, like you said, he throws very hard. He's a very high upside guy. It's just that consistency is just like he can't find the strike zone at all sometimes. And it's just like that can really hurt. The walks can rack up and people can make hard contact once you do find the zone because they're just sitting on it. So,
Yeah, Hicks is one of those guys I get flashbacks to okay, what was his name? Um it's escaping me now. Who was the guy we just got rid of a couple years ago that threw really hard, but just couldn't
Rosenthal,
control it?
maybe.
No, no, it was
Um,
oh shoot, why am I forgetting his name?
Reyes.
No, he got some. I think he got some starting time too. Um, was it another Cabrera?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. Anyway, I just I think Hicks also has the same issues as like Genesis Cabrera does, where it's just guys that they have great stuff. You're touching 101, 102 on your fastball, and you're unhittable when you're good. But then one day he shuts out 3 innings, and then the other day he's going to give up 5 runs. So I just
Right,
I don't.
like I feel like he's so good because his sinker, some days it just moves so much that it like moves all the way out of the strike zone. And it's like figuring out how much his sinker's gonna move that day. I feel like that's hard for him. And then like commanding the strike zone, like his fastball is very fast, but I feel like it's very flat. So like hitters can just sit on that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
But
agree. I think that him having such nasty stuff and fast pitches, like sometimes it's bound to get some fluky hits every now and then. So that I feel like it could really, I don't know if he's a very emotional player or not, but anybody could just it could bring you down if you're pitching so well and then they just get a little fluky hit over the infield and then you have a guy
right,
on first that you have to deal with and they just could
right.
get
Which
just like the Jays
I
game.
with him, I do wonder if that mental toughness is there because I know he wants to be a starter because they were talking about that over the off season, how he felt like he didn't get his fair chance
Yeah,
to start. But I was like, I don't know if we should be worried about starting right now. Like, let's just try to work out the bullpen for now and see where things go.
right.
But, you know, early season it hasn't looked too good, but he's very like good when he's on. So hopefully he can like bounce back from it.
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty
I
pretty.
think if he can get his control under control, and even if he can get to a guy like Palante's level, where he's just a very consistent, high twos, low three ERA guy, I think that would put him in a starting position. I think that puts him over a Woodford or a Matz. You know, but it's just he's too. You don't know what you're gonna get from him.
Right.
I think
There's always that
I
uncertainty.
would love if anybody's coming up to the starting position from the bullpen. I feel like it should be Palante. In my
I agree.
opinion, I love
Yeah.
Palante. He doesn't throw
Yeah.
hard, but like you said, he is consistent and he knows where to put the ball. And in the
Right.
Cardinals'
And
way, he
even
gets soft contact, and that's what you need.
Especially with that defense behind him. I would take five consistent pitch to contact guys all day long with this team. I
yeah.
would take if we had five guys that just threw great sinkers, great changeups that got weak contact, I'd take that all day long.
Yep. And even the good thing about Palante is this offseason he worked on getting his velocity up and it's been up. Like he's been hitting like 97, like 96, 97. And that's great over a game. Like you face a starter two, three times. Like he's mixing in the fastball. It has some zip to it, but he can also get you out on the ground ball. I think he's a great guy.
Yeah, and as we used him towards last season, he was a long
Mm-hmm.
reliever. He was a starter at one point. He just moved to the bullpen and was a long reliever for us. So I think
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
he
definitely
he
has a
took
experience.
he took Dakota Hudson's lunch money. So
Right.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I mean, I think why Palante is so successful is the same thing as why I think Jordan Montgomery is going to be a great starter for us because he really doesn't throw that hard. He's like a 95, 96 kind of guy, but he gets a bunch of weak contact, and you just let your Gold Glove infield handle the rest. I mean,
yeah. And
like
what I love about Montgomery is his wind up is so simple that like his arm slot is always super consistent. Like
yeah,
he can work on the outside of the plate when he needs to go inside. He can go inside, and he likes to keep the ball low with that breaking ball. So stuff like that always good out of a starter. Plus, he's a lefty. Being a lefty, dealing with a lefty as a starter is always a different type of feel.
for sure.
All right.
He's very
So,
good.
more recent news. I bet both of you guys have heard of this, and I don't know who hasn't. Between O'Neal and Marmol, they're not on the same page. Obviously, the kind of it seemed like Marmol stepped out of line by putting it out there to the media and not keeping it in house. I feel like it kind of hurt O'Neal and obviously the chemistry between them. What do you guys think about that?
I felt like it was just a play we should really forget about because everyone was kind of in the wrong. First off, the ball got hit to Ronald Acuna. I don't know if you guys know about that man, but that man has a rocket,
Yep.
like a rocket connected to his arm. So
One
I
of the
wouldn't
best arms
like
in the
go home
outfield.
on him. And I know Tyler O'Neill is one of the fastest, but like still, I'm not testing that. Like I would just we would have had the bases loaded in that situation. So I would have just trusted the offense. But like you said, Marmo calling him out publicly, like I didn't really like that. And I felt for Tyler because he was right. I think it could have been like just kept in house. But it was kind of public. He kind of took it to the media instead of addressing it in house, maybe in the locker room or whatever. So yeah, I didn't really like that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that I don't think Marmol should have taken it to the media, but I don't think the criticism is necessarily out of line. I didn't get to see the play that he was talking about, unfortunately, but I think if a coach, sees something and wants to give you some criticism, then I think you just got to kind of take that to the chin and roll with it. I think you know. Um, I don't really think they're. I mean, I hope they can get together and kind of hash things out, squash the beef, and get it done with. But I don't. I don't really see this needing to be a bigger deal than it is, you know?
Right. I
Yeah,
I was there at the game, and to me, it did kind of look like Tyler was jogging. And we all know like his sprint speed, how he's one of the fastest players in the league, stuff like that. So again, I don't know. He said it was more of a mental thing for him, which that part, like, I don't know about that, man. Like, I feel like you should just run as hard as you can, but also Pop Warner, like, I think the ball was like right there in Acuna's glove, and he was still rounding it. So I didn't really agree with that either.
I th
So
I think what rubbed me the wrong way about this whole thing was, I mean, I agree with Addison. I think if your coach gives you criticism, you definitely need to take it on the chin and improve from it. The thing that rubbed me the wrong way was the next morning, he O'Neal said that a few days ago him and Marmol talked, and it was a scheduled off day for him. But then Marmol that morning said that if a player's not going to put the effort out there, then he's not going to play. And it kind of made it seem like he wasn't out there because of his play and how he was kind of getting backlash from that play. But as Tyler said, it was a scheduled off day, and that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. It felt like Marble was kind of going after him. Just,
yeah, it's kind of like those uncertainty type of things. Like, don't want to hurt a guy's morale, but if he comes out and says that it was a scheduled off day, I think there has been like some type of understanding like made between the player and the manager, which I hope that's the case. Like, I hope there's not like animosity in the locker room
and then
from
he went
that
out there
play.
and played that day, later in that game.
Right. He got pinch hit.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think I think it should be good, but overall I think it was just a bad play on everyone's part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should just kind of really forget about it. Like, because we overall that game we had a very bad base running day. Like Contreras got thrown out at second,
Yeah.
Tyler got thrown out at home. Like every time we get someone on base, we can't bring them home. So kind of just a bad off day.
So I have a very hypothetical here. Um, you know, going back to the starting pitching a little bit and needing an ace. Do you think? I feel like the Cardinals will be pretty active this season in the trade deadline, as Gerald and I have talked about this before. I think they definitely are going to be out there looking for people in the market. Do you think O'Neal could be part of that deal? Maybe Edman and Wynn comes up, or O'Neal and Flaherty. What do you guys think? Should the top pieces that should be moved?
Well, I don't
Well,
think I think it's too soon to move Edmund. I think, you've got an established guy like Donovan that's good, but I think we should at least give Mason Wynn some time to get up to the big leagues and see how he performs because you've got a guy with Edmund who's gonna hit you 280, 300 every year. He's gonna give you 15 to 20 home runs. He's gonna swipe you 30 bags. And he's on top of that, he's a perennial Gold Glove candidate. So I don't think Edmund should necessarily be the first thing that we include in a trade. I'm not saying that he's off the table, but I just think it's too soon to move him. I've been saying since last year that we should really consider trading O'Neal after his big breakout year in 2020. And then last year, I know he was battling injury, but again, I get so scared in flashbacks to guys like Paul DeYoung who have an injury and then they just never return to the breakout year, and then we're stuck with a guy who we could have cut and run on. And obviously, hindsight's 2020, but I think like last year, I really think that dumping Bader was a great move. Um, I never really thought that Bader was going to be elite offensively. Um, so I mean, I definitely would consider Tyler O'Neill and possibly Flaherty for an ace.
Yeah, like you said with Tommy, I think he's well, War says he is, but I think he's one of the most valuable players in the league just simply on how fast he is. He's a great base runner, elite defense, and he's just a ball player, man. Like
Switch hitter
you can
too.
put him at second base, shortstop. He may not have the best arm, but he's gonna have an elite glove. So I love Tommy, but like you said, we have Mason Wynn, who's waiting, who's still young, but I think we can give him time to develop, and I really do like his chances to be up in the bigs this season somehow. I don't know where it's gonna be because we like are loaded in the infield, but
If
yeah,
anything, I feel like it'll come with injuries. If maybe Edmund goes down
right,
or Donovan goes down, it'll probably
right.
somebody step
I
in.
really hope the Cardinals view it as Mason Wynn should come up before Paul DeYoung should get back on the roster.
Yes.
Like that worries me because why would we have Paul DeYoung on the roster when we have Mason Wynn right there waiting? And we like I don't know. I'm over Paul DeYoung at this point, so I'm super anti him. But
Yeah, I wanted to give DeYoung a chance. They put him down in AAA last year, and he started doing really well, and they brought him back up, and he almost got his job back last
right,
year. He had, I think it was about a 7 game stretch where, he was dominant. But then, we slipped back into old Paul DeYoung, and I don't know if it's a confidence thing or something in his mechanics changed after an injury, but I he can't perform.
never he never found it again.
Yeah.
Like his rookie season, he was like primed to be the next guy, and this is the franchise guy and stuff like that. But he just continued to strike out a lot. Always had a good glove and always had good power, but besides that, just nothing. Just offers nothing. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough when you have. I think the Cardinals have great depth. And I think they love Taylor Motter. That's why they gave him opportunity, like a journeyman type guy who can play everywhere, play shortstop, which I didn't know, but that's cool. We got Tommy we can put there. We can put Mason Wynn there, Brendan Donovan in a pinch. Like it's just so much depth that we have. I'm not sure where the front office would value Mason Wynn at this moment.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm a fan of leaving guys down in the minors for as long as we can, just to really polish them up. So I'm not in too much of a rush to get Mason Wind up to the bigs. Obviously, if we have to, um, obviously I'd want him in the big leagues for an injury over DeYoung, but I don't think there's really any need to bring him up um, sooner than needed.
Yeah. I want them to be in the market for a starting pitcher, but I don't want them to like start trading guys like Gorman and Carlson and like moving a bunch of pieces to get one piece
Right.
because we seen what happened last year with Frankie Montas. Like this year he's like not projected to do well and was not very good. And he was like the hottest pitcher on the market. So really I feel like if a team has an ace, like right now in the MLB, like a really good guy, I'm not too sure that they would like give us a discount for that. Like we definitely would have to pay up a few prospects, a few arms, maybe. So
I'm
I hope we
wondering,
get it.
sorry, finish your thought.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking, if come the trade deadline, a team that is thinking about or was trying to make a run as, you know, if something doesn't pan out for a team that was projected to do well, and I don't know which team that would be, but if a team's looking to cut and run around the trade deadline, I'm wondering because I really do have faith in this front office. I think they've proven that they're kind of savvy with acquisitions like Goldschmidt and Arenado. I mean, shoot, we basically fleeced the Rockies. It was a robbery
Yeah.
for Nolan
Yes.
Arenado.
It was
Um,
bad to be a Colorado Rockies fan.
so I'm really wondering if they find a team that's looking to cut and run on their season, and they can you know find not an. I think the Arenado trade is a once in a lifetime sort of deal,
Yeah,
but I'm wondering if they can make a bigger splash than Jordan Montgomery.
right. And like I feel like we're all high on Jordan Montgomery, but I don't think we necessarily view him as an ace, you know?
No,
Feel
no,
like
certainly
he could
not.
be more like a 2 or 3 that can give you
Yes.
like a lot of innings and stuff like that. It's just that one guy at the top that can just go out there. And we had it. Like Sandy Alcantara, didn't he win Cy Young last
Yeah,
year?
yeah. Totally
And
took
he
home
was
the side.
with the Cardinals,
Yep.
and we just gave him up for Ozuna, and we didn't even keep Ozuna. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And
I
we,
I forget the Cardinals trades have really kind of bit us recently.
yeah,
I mean, getting rid of prospects too. I forget which one we had. It was either I think it was Tatis. I'm
we
pretty
had a
sure.
Rosarena.
Was it? Yeah, it was a Rosarena for sure. But then I felt like we either had Tatis or we had Acuna at one point in our minors, and we got rid of them. And like
Yeah,
again, obviously hindsight's 2020, but you're like, man, like if
yeah,
we had just
our
held on
development,
to those guys.
yeah, our development of prospects, I feel like is great on the position player side. Is just if we can see as fans that our obvious weakness is starting pitching, like I feel like the front office could see that. And like you said, I'm pretty optimistic about what they do because, you know, I was just on Snapchat yesterday. 4 years ago, we got Paul Goldschmidt. You know, they noticed that we really needed a bat like that, and then the next year we got Arenado.
Yeah,
Like for I
for
couldn't even
nothing.
tell you. I
For
think
nothing.
I think we like Montero. I think we gave him up. He's just now making his debut. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, it
but
was guys that hadn't even made the big leagues
you
until like last
know,
year.
Arenado
And
just
I'm pretty sure we got cash for him too. That was the
yeah,
craziest thing. Is we gave
right.
up like some nothing prospects and got paid to take Arenado.
Yeah, they're still paying half his contract.
Yeah.
So it's like where did we lose? You know, he just finished like third in MVP, I think, last
Oh yeah.
season, behind Goldie. So, those guys are gonna do what they do. They weren't brought up through the Cardinal system, but they're making an impact on the Cardinals, obviously. So hopefully we can bring someone on the outside in. And, I feel like we're a contender after that. Really,
yeah. So
that's really what we need.
lastly, what are your guys' hopes for this season? I could go on and on about hopes, obviously World Series and all that, but I think my biggest hope is getting that ace. Maybe trade a position player just because we have so many of them, and maybe have Michaelis, Monty, and whoever else at the 2 or 3, plus that hypothetical ace that we could get. But what do you guys think? Any hopes for this season?
So my realistic hope, obviously outside of a World Series, is I think with an ace. So making a trade for an ace. I would do backflips if this team won 100 games this year. I think just seeing the team win 100 games would really instill some confidence for deep playoff runs in the future. So I think an ace is the only thing holding us back. I think right now this team is projected to win. I think it's like 92, 93 games.
Mid
So
mid
as is,
90s.
so we're right there. It's just like you know
With the ace, we could win possibly 5, 10 more games. And what is that?
easily.
100. 105.
Right.
So that's like I feel like that idea is like a very, very optimistic idea. I obviously like we know like the offense is gonna be there. There are some games where the offense can't put it all together because we can't get the last guy home and it's 2 outs or whatever. But
Yeah.
offense
And
is
that's
good.
baseball. Like that's gonna happen.
Right, right. We're gonna like regress positively. So, but it's just the pitching, man. Like if the pitching is good, then we're good. We're like going with the flow with the pitching. Like if it's an off day for them, it's an off day for us. But if they're good, then I feel like the offense can manufacture runs, whenever. There's never really a game that I watch where I just feel like the Cardinals are out of it because our offense could go off at any time. But hopes for this season, I don't know. With the way that the Brewers are looking, they're looking good. So hope we can just win the Central convincingly and improve on last year. I hope that.
Yeah, the thing I think is the offense obviously is one of the best in the game, but it's just so hard starting out games behind. You know, your first, second inning, you're already a run or two down, or maybe three or four. It's tough to just pull it back every time, and I don't. I mean, I obviously see us winning so many games, but you know, it's also hard winning that many games if you're always behind because of your starting pitching.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's just I think I think realistically we shouldn't expect to be a lot better than last season just like based on having Contreras in the lineup now and Jordan Walker establishing himself because the offense last year was good. Like Pujols was very good at the second half. That along with the MVP and the third place MVP and Brandon Donovan and Tommy and all these guys contributing. It's easy on the offensive side, but really when the Cardinals like we went on 16-game winning streaks before, and I feel like every time that's happened, it's because our pitching has been like very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Like the offense is gonna take care of itself. So
The offense, in my opinion, should be winning us games. But right now, as the team is constructed, it's only keeping us in games because the pitching is so bad. Like the pitching is
right,
should be the thing that keeps us in games, and then the offense should be the thing that wins us the games. But
right, and that's always been the Cardinals' way. Like 2011, I feel like that era of the Cardinals was known for really good pitching, and
yeah,
oh, I feel like this new team, our identity is more offense. So maybe we can, because back then we would make like moves for like Lance Berkman and Matt Holliday and stuff like that, trying to improve the
right.
offense because the pitching was so good. But now things are different. Got to look at it on the flip side now and see how we can improve the other side.
All right, well, that's all I
Yeah.
got for topics today, fellas. Anything else you
Yeah,
guys want to add?
mm, we're gonna be good this season. I feel
Yep.
like some
Yeah.
the starting pitching, like Michaelis, he's a dog in my opinion. Like I love Michaelis. It's just he's not really an ace, but I
No,
feel
I
like
think
he'll
he's a really
figure some.
strong number two at best.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think he figures some things out. Like after that, like bad first inning, yeah, he settled down and was really sharp. But if we can have a guy in front of him that can just shut the door, then we're gonna be good. Genuinely.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think overall it'll be a good year for us, and I mean, obviously we got stuff to complain about just because we're fans, but you know,
right.
overall I think we'll be all right.
And I'm happy to be a Cardinals fan because
Oh
not
yeah,
everyone can even, not every MLB franchise can say they're competing year to year.
yeah.
Right. Right.
So, you know, Oakland,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I'd hate to be an Oakland fan. I'd hate to be a lot of teams fans. Like
Oh yeah.
I we are um we're very lucky to be Cardinals fans.
Yeah,
We get good baseball every year. It's not
the
like,
fans love the Cardinals. Like I
oh
was
yeah,
looking, the first game of the season was, I think, the Yankees, and like Yankees, obviously they're a big franchise, but their seats weren't even all filled. Like
right.
every opening day, the Cardinals always like sell out,
Shoot, the
or
Cardinals are
or at
sold
least
out
close to it.
most days. Like
Yeah, most
that's what
days.
these new rules. Like it was so hard for me to hear like, oh, we need to make the game faster because we gotta appeal to the young fans. The sport isn't getting young fans. Blah blah blah. And I think it's just because I didn't follow baseball outside of St. Louis for a long time. Because to me, you tell me that, and I'm like, what are you talking about? We got sold out. We got 42,000 fans at Bush Stadium every day. Like it's
Exactly.
not.
And
What
that's
do you
all we
mean? There's not fans? But
that's all we
you're right.
know. We have the second most titles in franchise history behind the Yankees, obviously. Like we know winning baseball has been like the Cardinals way is just winning.
It's
So
expected. Yeah, it's
yeah.
the few years in my life that the Cardinals haven't been good. Like the city is like it's beside itself. It doesn't know what to do. What do you mean the Cardinals
Yeah,
aren't good? You
exactly.
know,
It's just
it,
like at least some playoff baseball is always like going on. I feel like most years, like in the years we weren't like in the playoffs, we were still competitive, like
oh yeah,
on the fringe. It's just like the Cardinals always find a way. Like especially like from 2 years ago when we went on that 16 game winning streak, I was like, at that point I knew I would never count out the Cardinals ever again.
oh yeah. No, you can't
Yeah,
never.
no, you can't. And I love that about us, that we have like that identity as
Yeah,
a team.
it's it's so crazy to me to hear like I hear it a lot out of Mets fans. It's kind of funny, but at some point in the season, they're just like, "Oh, the season's over. Like, we're done."
Yeah.
And that's never a sentiment that Cardinals fans carry.
Right. Right. We don't even like we don't carry ourselves like that. Like the fans are always gonna cheer for what's on the field. But also, the front office, I feel like they do their part too, which is like you said, you feel good about the front office. I do too. Because winning baseball, other teams show that isn't easy over a year to year basis. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, baseball's not
having
like other sports, which I really like.
yeah,
You look at basketball and you can pencil in certain teams to go to the finals every year. Like Milwaukee's gonna be tough. The Celtics are gonna be tough right now. The Suns have a tough regular season roster, although they don't prove themselves in the playoffs. But football, the Chiefs are probably going to the Super Bowl. That the Bills are tough. The Bengals are going to be tough. But baseball, man, you're like, wait, where did the Phillies come from? Like the Phillies just
right.
come out of nowhere. Wait, where did the Mariners just took out the Yankees? Like what's going on?
Exactly.
Like
Like like the Tampa Bay Rays, like they all of a sudden everyone wants to
yeah,
use their philosophy.
yeah,
So
like
no, it's just year over year is just so much that can go wrong with the team. Like I hate to point out Tyler O'Neill. I hope he doesn't think I'm Oliver Mormont, but I hate to point him out, but um he had 34 home runs that one year. Then last year things didn't go right for him. And now people were talking about trading him and stuff like that. It's just a lot of stuff can change from year to year with baseball, but you know, that's just how the sport is. And these franchises are willing to spend money, like the Phillies. Obviously they were lacking pitching because by the time they got to the Astros, like they got stomped and a lot of things got exposed. But this offseason they made it a thing to spend money and go for it. So did the Mets. So baseball is always competitive. That's my point.
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, I think we're all all three of us are very happy to be Cardinals fans, especially if it's uh, than any other franchise. But yeah, I think that's all we got today for this episode. Um, Good first episode. Again, it's been
Oh yeah.
Francisco, Addison, and Gerald. We'll be here weekly, probably every Friday. Get a episode posted in. And yeah, well, thank you guys for
Yes,
listening.
sir.
Thank you guys for joining me in this again.
It
Yeah,
was
of
fun,
course.
guys.
Yeah, had a great time.
All right. See you, everybody. See you next week.